Hey Carlos, I'm having some trouble with my weaker hand. How do I fix that?
Hey Tyler, thanks for the great question, how to fix that weak hand. So before we get into that, a little bit about me for the viewers. My name is Carlos Plaza. You can find more about me at carlosplazadrums.com. I am an online drum instructor, and if you are a Drummers Community member, you will get 2 lessons free. Click the link below and you can get a hold of me. Make sure to put Drummers Community in the subject so I know where you're coming from, and you will get those 2 free lessons. So let's get into it. How do we fix that weak hand? All right, so fixing the weak hand. Before we actually get into it, before we get into some ideas for you to work on, some exercises and stuff for you to practice, I think it's pretty crucial that anybody watching this understand this is a subject that I think is best suited for you to actually get feedback from a drum instructor. So I'm not just saying that because I am a drum instructor, and I'm flying my flag of, come and take lessons with me. Obviously, I want everybody taking lessons with me. I think I can teach you a lot. I know that I can. But in this particular instance, it's not just that. It's really about getting a second pair of eyes on your technique. Because just because your strong hand is your strong hand doesn't mean that it doesn't have problems. And if you're going to try to fix your weak hand by just mirroring what your strong hand is doing, but your strong hand is wrong, then now you're double messed up, right? It's not just about fixing the weak hand. That's actually a can of worms. What you're really saying is, what's the proper technique? How do I play the drums? That's what you're saying when you say, how do I fix the weak hand? You're saying, how do I play the drums? Obviously, this is not going to be a 25-hour lesson on how do I play the drums. This is as short a video as I can make it, explaining why, if you are having problems with your weak hand, come to me, take your free drum lesson, or go to another drum instructor and take, hopefully they do first lesson free, get drum instruction, because you will not know if you're fixing the problem if your weak hand is an issue. So yes, we will talk about exercises and things that you can do to work on your weak hand, but you have to understand that the problem might be bigger than you can handle just from watching some YouTube videos. So again, for the 10th time, please contact me if you need help. I will help you. First lesson's free. So right out of the gate, I've got my practice pad here. Sometimes it can be kind of simple getting started. So the question is, what's wrong with your weak hand? Is it not fast enough? Well, okay, so have you learned the whip method? I'll put a link in a video, a link below to a video talking more about the whip method. But if it's a speed issue, then maybe you're having trouble with the whip. Okay? And so even just literally practicing this is going to help. So whichever is your weak hand, in my case, my weak hand is the right hand, because I'm a lefty. I'm just going to sit in front of my practice pad and I'm just going to do accent, ghost, accent, ghost, accent, ghost. And you can probably see it better in this camera. The whip method, the molar method, which is complicated and arduous and beautiful, wants you to bend that wrist. So don't just do this, you know what I mean? Really go full extension. Try to really open up the muscles, move the arm. That's a huge issue that I see with my drummers is that because their left hand is the weak hand, because they're always like, so in this case it's like this, they're always down here. Well, look where this shoulder is, right? The shoulder's down. So all of these muscles have atrophied. They don't want to play. They don't want to do anything. They want to be down here. And then you expect to use that same arm to come up and hit big crashes or to do big fills? No. So posture is very important, right? Make sure to sit up straight. And then engage all those muscles. Tell those muscles it's time to wake up. It's time to do more than just do snare on 2 and 4 and a couple of ghosties. No, it's time to really work here. So sit up nice and straight. That's why a practice pad is good for this. Or, just do it on the snare. And like I said, right here, really bend that wrist. Come up big, accent, ghost, accent, ghost, accent, ghost, accent. And just do that. That's huge. So we'll call that the accent ghost exercise. Okay, so that's one. That is an exercise you can do to start to work on, let's say the speed is the issue. I'm guessing that for most people, when they say their weak hand is off, it's not just speed, it's also I want my left hand to do X, and it won't do it. So doing this will help you with technique. Eventually you'll get nice and fast with it, but that's not necessarily going to help you put left-handed notes in different places. So for that, we're going to take it to the kit, and I very simply and very obviously want you just to switch your hands. You do this all the time. Okay? And look at that shoulder. That shoulder doesn't want to move when you want it to. Now that you want to come and do you want to hit a big crash over here or something like that with that left hand or that weak hand, and you can't do it. So sit up straight. Don't let this dip happen, and very beautifully switch those hands over, and you're basically starting all over again. I've actually seen some students who can play with leading with their weak side. They can do it way better than most when they first try to do this. But play the money beat, right, which is pictured below here. Play the money beat, leading with your weak hand, and I don't care if it's turtle speed. I want it slow, I want it controlled, and I want it perfect. Okay, the money beat. Let's pretend that was difficult for you. Keep working on it and work on speed. If that's tough for you, then just focus on that and work on speed and build the speed up on that a lot. That's going to do tremendous good for your weak hand. Couple that with the exercise I just showed you and some other exercises I'll show you in a second, and you'll be just fine. But if you played that beat leading with your weak and it was easy, and you're like, uh-oh, what am I going to do? I can already do that, but I'm still worried about my weak hand. Okay, then start to throw in more complicated patterns on the bass and the snare. Now, you might be thinking, well, what's that going to do? My left hand or my weak hand is still doing the same thing on the hat. Aha. What it's going to do is it's going to independicize. I'll find out later if that's a word. It will help to make independent that weak hand. Your left hand, your weak hand, the weak hand needs to be made independent, because one of the problems it has is that it relies on everything else that's going on. Your weak hand is actually very dependent on what your other hand is doing, on what your foot is doing. It's very dependent. We want to make it independent. Okay, so by keeping those, let's say, eighth notes on the hi-hat going, but then throwing in more complex snare and bass patterns, watch that weak hand kind of go like, hold on, wait a minute. It's not going to be easy. Stuff like this. So let me slow that down. I'm just throwing in random 16th notes in groups of ones and groups of twos. Simple stuff. A couple of these are right here below, and I'll link a page below with a couple examples. You can feel free to download that PDF and work on those. But it's not exercises that you need to memorize. I'm just messing around with eighth notes on the hat, 16th note combinations on the snare and bass. If you don't know what any of that means, shoot me an email and get your 2 free drum lessons, and I will teach you. Reading and understanding written music is 10 million times easier than people think, and 10 million times easier than I thought when my teacher was trying to explain it to me. And that's one of the reasons why I became a drum instructor, because I was like, when I finally got it, I was like, oh my God, I can definitely teach this better than this buffoon. He wasn't a buffoon. He was a good teacher, but he had his downfalls. Okay, so again, if you have trouble with that, then you're going to want to focus on that, and it'll stop here for you. Don't stop watching the video. I have more info for you, but just for the sake of argument, if you have trouble going like this, then you need to focus on that. You need to try to speed it up. So if you can't do that, then you need to work on that. So playing eighth notes on the hi-hat with the weak hand, making it independent, separating it from everything else, and that is going to do wonders. Okay, let's go back to the practice pad. So the last main thing I want you to think about when you're saying to yourself, oh no, I'm having problems with my weak hand, is I want you to remember the rudiments. The rudiments are all 40 of them, and then, all of the hybrid rudiments and any version of a rudiment you can think of. They are all meant to either be played alternating. So let's take the flam, for instance, and we will be using the flam here. The flam is meant to alternate, right, left, right, left. Okay, you're supposed to alternate it. Or the rudiments are specifically one-sided. Let's say the lesson 25. Notice how my accent is only on the right hand. You can see it here. That's very clearly right hand dominant. So you'd have to do it on the right and then do it on the left. Okay, so either way, unless you are blatantly disregarding one of those sides, all of the rudiments have the ability to be played leading with your right or leading with your left. And probably, I'm guessing the problem is that you haven't been working on your rudiments at all, maybe, or you haven't been focusing on that weak side. So this works with any of the rudiments. I mean, you're one step behind if you don't know any rudiments. Drum lessons. You're half a step behind if you know a couple of them, but you've never done them with your weak side. But the paradiddle, for example, is designed to switch. So if you know the paradiddle, you can use this to strengthen that weak hand. But it's really just about really focusing. So right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. That's the perfect paradiddle. Big accents, small ghost notes. Okay? Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. That's the perfect paradiddle with the accents on the one pictured below here. So the problem, I bet, is that maybe you're doing it, but you're not doing it focusing on that accent. You're not bringing that stick up and slamming it down and using the muscles that you've got there. So slow it down, really focus on not only the accents with that weak side, but on the ghost notes with that weak side, okay? Really hit it. Slam it. Don't be afraid to slam it. Okay. Yeah, you can go for speed, fine, but we're not talking about speed right now. We're talking about technique. We're talking about stick control. Okay, so this exercise that I mentioned before is huge for stick control. So do a lot of that. Get that weak hand to start really cooperating and listening to what you're trying to tell it to do. Okay, then your paradiddles. Okay. Triplets are excellent. That's the last thing I'm going to show you on my list here. Just accented triplets. If you don't know what triplets are, drum lessons. Okay. Right, left, 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 right, left. Okay. And slam that weak hand. Don't be afraid to slam it. Another reason why the practice pad is good, because you're not going to be driving people nuts going for 20 minutes or whatever. And put all of the attention on that weak hand. Again, I can't go too into detail about grip and stick technique because that's a whole other thing. That's why I said at the beginning you should contact a drum instructor to get help on that. You might be holding the sticks wrong, and what I'm saying might help you a little bit, but not a lot, not all the way. So drum instruction is huge. YouTube videos are great, but you got to take that extra step and have somebody specifically watching you and saying, watch out for this, don't do that, sit up straight, sit up straight, sit up straight, sit up straight, sit up straight. All right, so we're going to go back to our practice pad now, do a quick review. We talked about the molar method, right? The whip, accent, ghost, accent, ghost, accent, ghost. Really focus on that wrist. Okay. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So that's one. Obviously, the money beat, the money beat with complex 16th notes on the snare and on the bass. Then we talked about the triplets, big accented triplets. Okay, one triplet, two triplet, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. Okay, and the cool thing about that one is that you don't have to worry about where the accent is, or I'm sorry, you don't have to worry about which hand is leading because they're both leading. So it's kind of a benefit there. And then your rudiments. Go back to your rudiments, pick your favorite one, pick one you've never played before, and I guarantee you're going to be able to use that weak hand to apply that rudiment. And the problem is you just probably weren't thinking about it. You just probably weren't really putting that time and effort into that weak side. Let's take, for example, like the 5-stroke roll. Okay, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, left, right, right, left. Okay. Maybe you did that a couple times, maybe you didn't, but I bet if you're having trouble with your weak hand, if you were to work on the 5-stroke roll nice and slow and really focus on those doubles, okay, on that weak side, and then a big accent, look at my wrist, look how curved it is. That's molar all day. Okay, and you can alternate them. So right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Okay. Yeah, man. Even just that double stroke, like I did there at the end. That you weren't really focusing on your weak hand with your doubles. Let's leave it at that. One more time to reiterate, I am an online drum instructor. Please feel free to reach out to me. I want to watch you play. I want to help you out. That's why I'm offering 2 free drum lessons, 1 full hour for any Drummers Community members. I want to help you guys out. I want to be the official drum instructor of the Drummers Community, and Tyler and I are working in tandem to sort of make that happen and make my services available to all of you to help you guys out. I do just want to make one more announcement. I am running a program called Drumming for All. It takes in donations to help pay for drum lessons and equipment for people around the world who can't afford it. So if you would like to help out the fellow drummers of the world, you can donate at drummingforall.com. That would obviously be fantastic. A small monthly recurring payment is the thing that we kind of are hoping for. If you can pay $5 a month towards that, you are helping to guarantee that somebody in the world who can't afford drum lessons is getting them. So that's fantastic. Anyways, that's enough for me. Thank you so much to Tyler and the Drummers Community, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.